Hi, I'm Lebo Changela, and this is the 11th edition of the series Frontline Workers, where we talk to courageous essential workers who risk their lives daily to provide important services to the general public. Today is the third week of Level 3 lockdown, and the work of security guard has been crucial in keeping citizens safe ever since lockdown came into effect on March 27. The private security industry was identified as an essential service by the Disaster Management Act. The latest report by the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority states that there are 2.36 million security officers registered in South Africa, with over 400,000 currently employed by over 9,000 registered and active security companies. This makes South Africa one of the largest private security industries in the world, as it is 3 times bigger than the police and army combined, according to the Police and Prison Civil Rights Union. Security guards earn between 4,100 Rand and 5,500 Rand per month and are permitted to work 48 hours a week and 12-hour shifts. Coming up in this edition of Frontline Workers.
A lot of business robberies and residential robberies as well, including hijackings. But on the business robbery side, that picked up quite a bit. That's why for us as well, it's a big risk, because on daily basis, we're dealing with many different people, and for us, it's a risk. That's why we have to ensure that we wear our safety protection. Our family was calling us constantly because people never know what's going on. They never know much about this virus. It was just a sudden knock on the door for many.
A security guard, Rais Shamar, who works for Alert Security and Armed Response Service, also known as ASARS, in Johannesburg, tells me about what he goes through as a frontline worker. The 26-year-old has been working for the company for 6 years as a reaction officer. Rais describes what it's like working under lockdown.
It was intense. The roads were quiet, so that was one advantage that we had, but it was quite intense for us. Majority of our clientele were at home, so people were pressing panics continuously. A lot of the people were in fear.
What's the difference between working under level 5, level 4 and level 3?
For me, there's not much of a difference. From level 5 to level 4, there's not been much of a difference. Just now the traffic is obviously more, but we've seen crime did pick up quite a bit as well since we moved from level 5 over to level 4.
On the eve of the lockdown, the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority expressed concern about the safety of the security officers being deployed and their vulnerability in contracting the virus, considering the nature of their work. The regulatory authority requests the security companies to take precautions to ensure the safety of their security officers. Rees says his company is following the guidelines.
I use a mask. Each of our vehicles has sanitizer inside of it. I try and make sure that our vehicles are sanitized often. Even in the office, we have quite a bit of sanitizer. So,
is it comfortable to be working with a mask?
It depends entirely on the mask that you have, but it's not entirely comfortable to work with a mask. Yeah, it affects our face, and we start developing rashes, and some of my guys even had a few rashes because of the masks.
Under lockdown regulations, many workers struggled with public transport as it is restricted to a certain loading capacity and operates at certain times. However, transport was not a struggle for Rais.
For me, I go through with company transport.
And then is there a certain protocol you have to follow?
There is. Before entering the vehicle, we have to sanitize. We have to make sure all our individuals in the vehicle has to wear a mask.
ASARS reports that business breakings increased by 40% from level 5 to level 3 among their clients, and house breakings increased by between 10 to 15%.
Level 5, the first few days of level 5, it was a bit quiet, but then it began picking up, especially on the business side. So basically areas such as industrial, amalgam, where nighttime most of the individuals weren't around, so on the business side crime did pick up a lot. On residential it wasn't as bad. I'd say what picked up was the fact that people were given more benefits and people were given more privileges. So I feel that
What sort of crimes did you have to attend to?
a lot of business robberies and residential robberies as well, including hijackings. But on the business robbery side, that picked up quite a bit.
Would you say at the beginning of level 3, the introduction of alcohol had an impact?
It did actually have an impact. From day one, our domestic violence cases increased, and members even in the area, they were a bit busy.
The Institute for Security Studies says many security companies have developed investigative capabilities and collect information and evidence, interview suspects and develop a criminal case which is usually handed over to the authorities for prosecution in the process of investigating incidents. Rees educates us on how security companies operate and how they cooperate with the South African Police Service.
Basically, if there's an alarm activation inside the office, if someone arms the alarm system, and sometimes it's burglars, sometimes it's false alarms, so we respond to such things. We respond to things also in the neighborhood, like the neighborhood watch. If they call for assistance, if the cops call for assistance, from there our members go out. For me, I find the security officer's job is basically, we can say in the same league. The cops do get a lot of calls. We also get a lot of calls. But in the security side of things, we attend to something first, because someone would press their panic first instead of calling 10 111, you know. So basically our game is the same. And on my side, if we were to arrest a person, it depends entirely on us. So if it's a small case, we'll take the individual through to the police station, and from there we'll do further documents with the SAPS there. So they'll give us a docket, we'll fill it out with the SAPS, and from there the steps will. So from there our suspect gets arrested, and from there we have to appear in court.
As COVID-19 cases continue to rise, South Africa's infections sit at 70,038, with 1,480 deaths reported. This month, security guards were among the staff members that tested positive for COVID-19 at the Shadat Maxeke Academic Hospital in Johannesburg. And last month, a security guard at the SASSA office in King Williamstown contracted the virus. Rees says contracting the virus is one of his fears.
At the end, it's something that we have to, for now, we have to learn to adapt, and we have to take that extra precaution.
In making any arrests, have you ever thought of, what if I'm arresting this person and they have COVID?
Definitely. That's why for us as well, it's a big risk, because on daily basis we're dealing with many different people, and for us it's a risk. That's why we have to ensure that we wear our safety protection always. And in the security sector, now that the alcohol ban is lifted, we have to be careful of people skipping robots again, because traffic is again crazy. People driving under the influence. We have to attend to elderly people as well, and the risk is on us as well. We might not know we have it, but we can be the person spreading it.
As with other essential workers, the journey to and from work and constant exposure to others is of concern.
My family did fear for me from day one. The announcement on the lockdown, and we were essential services, so for us we never had the time to be at home, and our family was calling us constantly, because people never know what's going on. They never know much about this virus. It was just a sudden knock on the door for many.
According to a survey by Stats SA called Wave 2, South Africans have lost their jobs and income as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. It revealed that 9.9% of 2,688 respondents lost their jobs in the 6th week of lockdown as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. I asked Rees if his income was affected by the lockdown.
No, I wasn't actually affected. Thank you for my amazing boss, but now I got paid on time. I know of many people in the security sector, and especially due to this coronavirus, a lot of people were not receiving income, so people could not afford security. So a lot of businesses could no longer afford guards and so on. So I do know of a few people that has lost their jobs, yeah.
And then are you also getting support?
I am getting support, yeah. I am.
For the next edition of Frontline Workers, you can visit sabcnews.com or at SABC News on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. For SABC Digital News, I'm Lebo Changela.